Hey there, welcome back to Fresh Start Budgeting. Today is a spending recap over the first two income streams of September, as well as perhaps a little bit of a reset in how I'm approaching things. So let's get started. Just a warning as I get started that this video I've tried to start probably about 6 different times, but I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting everything together in my mind of how this goes forward. But I really do want to get this video out. I haven't done a video for a little bit, and I want to share kind of where I am with my spending for the first couple weeks of September and what I anticipate going forward. So today is intended as a check-in, but it's also a little bit of a check-in with myself in terms of what it is that is coming and what I need to prepare for. So in the last video that we did have kind of a plan of sorts in terms of where spending was going to go. And I have tracked kind of each of the different areas over this period from August 28th through to September 15th. So I'm just going to go through the actuals here rather than going through all the expenses that I had. Bills, I actually sent a little less to bills than what I had expected, and I will get into that. Food, spent a little less on food, which is good, but it actually was because I needed to spend more on household. Pets, we spent what we expected to spend there. Transportation, a little bit less. I did not buy as many tickets, and as well, we didn't use any taxis during this period. Subscriptions has been a little bit less, although to write down my Netflix subscription cost of $22 just makes me think how ridiculous that is. I think it's something that I'm ready to see go. I'm going to have to talk to my kids. I don't know how much they use it, but I don't understand why Netflix has just the cost has just gone crazy. What are you paying for Netflix? Is this just me? Did I get suckered into something that I should not be suckered into? Personal, we had done a little bit less in that first period, and so a little bit more in this second one. But overall, a little bit more than I had anticipated. Fun, we did purchase the UFC pay-per-view. I am a UFC fan. I will that's my guilty pleasure. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just something that I enjoy and me and my partner enjoy. So we did get that latest UFC pay-per-view. Debt, we had split debt a little bit differently than what we had planned between these first two, but it equals out to the same. And the savings is then what I had shown you. So, we have that, but then we see there was overall a little bit less money spent than what I anticipated. So at the end I had $462, which would have gone towards that final bill payment that I was expecting. I don't know if you're seeing that, $462, but then something came up, medical situation, which cost $832, which you can see is more than that $462. So I actually had to take money out of some of the areas that I had been saving, and I will be making a plan on how I return some of those monies, but it was just, you're kind of given a choice. It's like you either find a way to deal with it or you don't deal with it at all. And not dealing with it is not really an option for me anymore. When I started this budgeting journey, there was absolutely the looking back at my debt confession. If you haven't seen that, there's financial mistakes that I've made in the past because of a variety of situations, but regardless, there were things that were following me for a long period of time that I wanted to get cleared out so that I could have a more secure, more positive financial future. But there was also a health journey that I had started about a year ago. In it was I was diagnosed with something, and I was getting it under control through some pretty strict dietary measures, and also just being really careful about taking care of myself. I stopped really doing that. I stopped being as strict as I had been. Financially, the cost of the food that I was on did cost more. I didn't have to, but it did. Looking back, it didn't have to, but I was spending more on those kinds of things. And in the past couple of weeks, that has come back. I had been avoiding it. You'll see kind of a pattern in my world of not really knowing how to deal with particular situations, and so not dealing with them. But that's full of regret at the moment, of course. But so, I mean, the medical expense is what it is. My insurance company may come back and cover some of that. They didn't to start with, because it's not, they didn't cover it to start with. So I will, I've put the claim into them, and maybe that money will come back, and we can deal with that. But the part to my financial journey that I hadn't really shared was trying to prepare for something in the future, so that if I was not able to work, or if there were these kinds of medical expenses that I needed to take care of, that I would be able to. Whereas a year ago, when I was in this situation, I just had to keep working. I just had to keep going. So I think that's going to be a shift for me in the coming months, because for myself, I try to budget almost in hopes that I can get ahead of something, right? And sometimes you just run out of time, and you can't get ahead of it. So, and I'm not meaning to be really cryptic. I'm just being honest in this particular situation. I don't know if you've ever read the poem called Welcome to Holland. It's actually a poem that was created for, it was by a mother of a child with Down syndrome, and it actually goes out to a lot of parents with special needs children. But I was reminded of it in the past couple weeks, and as I was thinking about it, and if you haven't read it, it's just a short poem. It's widely available on the internet. But it's basically about a person preparing for a particular journey, and then they find out once they're on the plane that they're going to be going somewhere else. And that at first they're very afraid, they're disappointed, they're angry, they go through all these different kinds of emotions. But at the end, they realize that even though it's different from where they intended to go, it's a different journey, but it's still a journey. It still has things to enjoy, things to excite you, all those different kinds of things. So although it's meant for parents of special needs children and kind of that journey, I can see it across all different facets of just life in general, in the sense that, you might have plans. You might think that in your budgeting journey, you're planning for something very specific, and something else comes up, and all of a sudden you have to shift what you're doing and shift what you're thinking about. And you can do a few different things. You can avoid it, you can give up, you can run away, or you can find new ways of taking this opportunity and taking this twist and going with it. And so I think, as I was thinking about that, I was like, that's kind of where I am. I have to do this a little differently. My food budget, I want to keep it going in this direction, but I am going to have to make some pretty significant changes, because I do think it's a way of treating the situation that I'm in. And so that's probably going to be part of my journey, is how to have very natural ingredients, non-processed ingredients, cheaply, right? Like that's going to be my new challenge. How do I do this without breaking the bank? Because the last time I did this, I broke the bank. I'll be honest, I broke the bank. So I was, I was doing something for myself, and I was making meals separately for everybody else in my house. It was just, I mean, you saw what my food budget looked like before. So that's where I am. And that's what the first couple weeks of September have been. And, I might have some kind of different items on my channel, but I'm still continuing with this budgeting journey. It's just to add a layer of complexity to it, I guess, and we'll see where that goes. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate everybody that watches and comments and subscribes, likes, anything. And I'm also interested in watching you in your journey. So please share a comment below so I can check out your channel. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.